Okay, welcome my XRP family, my community. I'm the digital asset investor, and I am drinking orange juice. And orange juice, and trying to tell it like it is, okay? Now look at this. XRP, continues their complete deception. And it's just perpetuated not only to the bounties, but now the community. Whoever can, click this record button on their YouTube channel, I should have done that, is making a video lying to everyone else. So it's just one person, a community lying to itself, and then lying to the new guys, that come in. But people are onto it now. I mean, people just looking at these Ripple bullshit videos, and they already know, right? So everybody, but the new guys don't, right? The new guys come in and say, oh fuck, look at this, XRP is gonna make it happen, right? And they'll move everything into XRP because they think it's gonna moon all of a sudden, right? But these guys know it. Crypto J, I did a painting for him. He said shit to me. I did 2 paintings for him. And he asked for him, and he didn't say thank you or nothing, right? So, really fuck him and the rest of the people on this, except for a few. And then there's David who lies on interviews saying that he doesn't control XRP. And boy, I wish we could, blah, blah, blah. He's I thought he was cool, but he's a liar. And digital asset investor, of course, he's a con man. I'd like to see him sit with his kids and say, okay, kids, this is how I rip these people off, right? So I tell them all the good things that happen about Ripple. I don't tell them the bad things. And then when they do complain about it, I tell them to put their big boy pants on, and I shame them into shutting up. Isn't that funny, kid? And then, this is how I get my extra money, kids. Like, you see that burger, that side of French fries and the milkshake? That's what I get for each of these videos. Isn't that something, kids? I get a burger and a French fry and a milkshake equivalent, about $7 for doing these things. Isn't that great? And yeah, the hell with the other people, right? That's how you make it in this world, kids. Is you deceive people for a happy meal. So he's he'll burn in hell. He'll lose his stack. DM, he's cool. I mean, he doesn't he does what he needs to do, but he doesn't lie. And what else we got here? Yeah, the lady from Tokyo, she's smart. I always thought she was an embassy spouse, but maybe she works for a bank, maybe. But she's a plant. Cryptocurrency News is the only guy that I trust, because he tells it like it is. I don't think he gets paid, because he bashes XRP a lot, but he owns it. And Chris Larson, I don't know who he is. This guy's the worst, man. He's the most deceptive guy. Sam I am. He's so believable, and I used to love watching him. But he's a con man. He's the one that put out that $2,300 XRP And he's the one that just dragged you from October, November, December. And then he found the walls. You know, he found the Ripple with the gentleman's agreement, and then they stopped talking to him. And then this Bob Way, man, he's still working for Ripple. He's one of those guys. He's a plant, you know, and he's supposed to be a neutral guy, but he's not. He's I don't know. You know, I don't know if he's getting paid, but who would do all this shit after being relieved from Ripple, right? He would be more forthcoming, and he's not. And he knows what happened. He knows what the marketing plan was. He knows why Corey Johnson was fired. He knows what happened during the pump and before the pump, and he's not saying it. He's not saying it. Because I asked him about it, and he doesn't answer. As a matter of fact, no one answers, right? I'll tell them right up front what happens. This is who this person works for. These two work together. This is how they get paid. You know, this is how they did this. This is why she said that, right? And it's all coordinated. And you know, if you see my Twitter, it's obvious what I know. Okay, so you see it. You see the hype that's going on, and then in the meantime, you see these banks are starting to close right now. You know, and they're just getting ready. They're just getting ready. They're starting to cut the fat. I mean, they're just starting to shut down. It's called a sunset industry, banking. And ask any bank VIP what that means, and they'll tell you. Yep. Banking is a sunset industry, meaning that it's going away. Right? So this is what you got to look at. And this is just, you know, someone's going to have to do a deep dive on exactly what this means. Okay, so look at this. Here is Ripple. Here's the $55 billion escrow. And it's hard to write on glass, guys, so I know I have bad handwriting. So, and that 55 billion is going to last from do this, man, so you guys can. To 5 years, right? And then, you know, as they don't spend their allowed amount, and it's put back in the escrow and then put out in the back end. So you could see this 55 billion escrow maybe lasts 6.2 years, let's say, right? Because they don't spend it, they could spend it on the out years, right? So you know what I'm saying? But let's just put 5 years just so we don't have any arguments. And 5 years is what? 5 years is a business cycle, right? So some consultant or some genius made this up to match a 5-year business cycle plan, probably, right? That's probably why they picked 5 years versus 4. They just probably picked a business cycle. So let's just say, when do you think mass adoption is going to happen in crypto? Okay, let's just feel this, because I don't know. 1 year from now? 2 years from now? 3 years from now? 3 years is a little high. Maybe 2.5? Does that feel? Let's just say 2.5 years. And then let's just round it up to 3. So by 3 years, mass adoption is going to happen. You figure? And what's the first thing you did when you, I mean, how long did it take you to get out of a bank? Almost all the way, right? Took me 3 months. 3 months to take all my money out and put it in crypto, right? So the banks are going to close. Now the banks are going to sharply close around 3.3 months, right? So your XRP is not going to be up in, as far as the banks go, your utility traction is not going to ever kick in, because this 55 billion is going to be taking care of all the customers, right? Because you wouldn't leave 55 billion on the table, would you? So you probably have an arrangement with the banks to come to you to get replacement XRP before you go to the exchanges. So you'll be waiting for XRP to explode, and it'll never happen because the banks will close, because there's really no use, right? Once you get crypto, there's no use to even keep them there, right? You keep it all in your hard wallet. You use Nexo to get your loans. You can even leave it at Nexo now, and they guarantee it. They got an insurance policy on it, right? So it's as safe as being in the banks. So you can just leave your currency on Nexo, and it's probably safer, because they don't have that reverse bailouts or whatever. So there you have it, man. In 3.3 years, the banks are probably going to be shut down. There's not going to be a need for any cross-border payments, because you can do it on an email. Everyone's going to have a phone. And the poor, the Western Union guys, they'll just get your pay on, Omizugo is going to have payroll. And you'll get payrolled into the phone, and you just click there back to your family, for the cents. So Western Union's going to go away, and XRP is going to be the it's going to be the fax machine of this generation. Remember, XRP was hot for a while, fax machines, and then they went away because of the internet and email. So something to consider, man, and something for you as just an investor to say, well, yeah, I guess, and hopefully the businesses part of it, they're having businesses use XRP, and there's other uses for it, right? So that's going to get it some traction. But XRP, I believe, is the transition currency. What they're doing is they're giving XRP to these banks, and they're like big balloons, or those big vinyl sacks. And when the dollar starts to fail, and the dollar-backed assets start to fail, they'll sell those out and put them into the XRP balloons. And that's when XRP is going to move. So XRP is the doomsday token, I always say. And that's what I think. And if Ripple wasn't such a bunch of fucking liars and deceptive devils, I wouldn't have to guess like this, But I have to guess because they are they're the biggest deceivers in the history of companies. I've never seen a company worth so much that will use these tactics in deceptive marketing practices to just screw the little guys. You know what I mean? I've never seen it before. And I look at those guys, and they're Bilderberg, or someone from the Bilderberg group. They're just high-ended, probably Satanist pedophiles. And I'll take that back because I don't know. But they're high-flying Satanists for sure, because they're from San Francisco. And that's where Bohemian Grove is, and They walk around in little circles. Oh man, I said enough. But why am I so pissed off at these guys? Why am I, out to expose them? Because I was one of the guys that was in XRP too much, and I loved Sam I Am. I loved the Bearable guy, and I knew that he wasn't a fake. Why? Because the company said nothing, right? They didn't say, "Don't listen to this fucking bear. He's not telling the truth," or whatever. They said nothing. So I thought of it as their way of hooking up the community. Their customers get hooked up, the government gets hooked up, and this was a way for them to hook up the community by having these guys give them clues, about what was going on. And I only found out really about it in December when I said, "Oh shit!" And this is not where and of course the price going down 80%, last year. And then it was a time where a Bearable guy, he says, "Okay, wait here," right? Like he got us out to some date, and then he said, "Okay, wait for it." And then he faded away into the sunset, like his picture faded away, like he just disappeared. And it just like he fucking just left us out in the desert. And I said, "Oh fuck, man, this can't be, because everybody was hoping, like, yeah, they're gonna flip the switch or some sort of fucking thing's gonna happen." And then the fourth quarter report came out, and I'm reading it, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh shit, there was no way there was gonna be a 589. There was no way there was gonna be a blocks of corridors, that they're going to keep the price up $50, and there's no way there's going to be a flip the switch deal." It was just like it was complete nonsense, all of it. And I said, "Man, I lost a lot of money because of that." I had a lot of money in XRP, and I lost it because these guys, their tactics, their marketing deceived me. It deceived me, right? So I made bad decisions based on what was available. And the thing is that all of these guys were getting paid by Ripple. Bearable guy, the Rippler, the bounties. And then when I went out to the community and I said, "Hey guys, we've been fucking ripped off," and I got a bunch of guys coming after me, right, for bringing it up. And it just goes to show you, just how people are. And it's fine. If this is how it's going to be, right, we're going to let this happen. We're going to let these companies do whatever they want to manipulate us. Then we're going to be manipulated, And then when this AI comes in, we won't have any clear thoughts anymore. And I'll rip you off, you rip me off, company rip us off, and that's the world we're going to live in. So I'm not down with that. So I'm going to just remind you guys about the shit that I'm seeing, and hopefully warn you guys that to look into them. And I don't know I don't know what I'm going to do. But the more I look into them, the more I can see it. I got so much on them. It's just like it's you got to look, and you got to hunt around, but it's there. And then plus the fact that they got these government contracts, then their internal communication is open to a court, right? Because it's they got a federal contract, so it's they have open books whenever they deal with the government. So, but you don't even need that. You won't need it, because all you got to do is ask a few questions, and if it's yes, then it's deceptive marketing. So That's why I hate them. And I lost a lot of money. And yet, it's my fault, man, because I've listened to the fuckers on YouTube. And I got my information from the community smiling faces on Twitter. And I mean, where else are you gonna, where else are you gonna do your research? You go on the Ripple website, it doesn't tell you shit. And it's tough trying to decipher what everyone's tweets are about. So I go to YouTube, I go on the Twitter, I go on what's that one? That other Reddit, and that's where I got my information. And the information that I got is everyone's saying it's $5.98, and there's people doing price analysis on it. Susie did one, $330. It was close. Everyone said, yeah, it's possible. This and this, flip the switch. So, you got me. And I bet you got a lot of other people too that put it all in last year. How many people put it all in last year? Fuck, it's a lot of money. I'm the digital asset investor. I don't give out any financial advice, right? So this isn't any financial advice. I'm not paid by those cunts, and this is free information that I'm not getting a McDonald's burger, French fries, and a milkshake for. I'm doing this to show you. There's some, look at some other things that these smiling faces aren't telling you. Okay, my XRP family, if there's any way I could cheat you out of money, I will.